Now loading.
Furniture and fashion, two areas that encourage self-expression, that have the power to bring people together. Furniture can turn a house into a home and establish the culture and cohesion within a working environment as well as a public setting. Fashion can help define the theme of an experience or an event. There's been occasions where furniture and fashion have tapped into each other's worlds, and you realize in that moment that they not only have differences, but they also have similarities. Furniture plays a big role in fashion shows. The arrangement of chairs provides guests with a good view to see the latest looks on display by the models on the runway, especially those in the front row. What was cool about the Fall Winter 23 Kenzo show was that you had guests that were seated on circular benches that were basically an extension of the runway, as the Kenzo models would make their way around them and down to the rest of the runway, meeting the remainder of the guests. It was sort of a reminder that at a fashion runway show, it's all about discovery as well as entertainment, as the models are showcasing the new looks as a performance, and the seats allow guests to experience the performance from a comfortable position. What it tends to do is encourage conversation and connectivity amongst guests. Kendrick Lamar's performance at Louis Vuitton's Spring-Summer 2023 show was a more laid-back performance where he was seated on a bench chair that was part of the yellow toy racetrack designed by Playlab Inc., a childlike runway theme that provided strong Hot Wheels vibes. Kendrick being seated made the performance and the overall show feel more intimate, and every model that walked past him would have their own one-on-one moment with him. There's just a unique type of intimacy that a music artist performing while sitting down provides.
I get out of all your boxes. I get out. You can't hold me with these chains. I get out.
Furniture at fashion shows are essentially the glue that connects the guests and the models. Gaetano Pesci created a colorful resin-colored floor and designed 400 cotton and resin chairs for Bottega Veneta's SS23 show in Milan. It was a warehouse-style room. None of the 400 chairs were the same and were simplistic. Some of the chairs had smiley faces on the front. Some had large Bottega Veneta writing on the back, as well as drawings of the sun, question marks, bottles, and other imagery. Every chair had a small oval shape at the bottom, and inside that shape read Gaetano Pesci for Bottega Veneta in a signature style text. The chairs followed the sculptural shapes of the floor that marked the runway in various tones. At the Prada SS23 menswear show via AMO, guests were seated in 2 rows along the walls of the paper on cubic chairs, which were made entirely from corrugated cardboard. This gave the guests a minimalistic experience, almost encouraging them to appreciate humble environments. It was designed through the lens of a child's ideal home, tapping into a child's imagination and curiosity. Fashion items, for the most part, have been looked at as something that you can place on a pedestal for people to admire, as if they're art pieces based on how they've been displayed. Furniture has definitely reached a stage where more and more people are looking at different furniture pieces beyond its core purpose of comfort and functionality, where they can appreciate the visual aesthetics as if they were an art figurine, with it being placed or put on display museum style. Both fashion and furniture have weeks dedicated to the product development within their respective spaces, that being Fashion Week and Design Week. However, fashion operates at a much faster pace than the design world. Fashion leans much more into trends, and furniture is more about longevity with products. Even if there's a furniture piece that incorporates a trend, there is still the goal of that piece becoming a longevity piece that stands the test of time. Then again, in fashion, you do have vintage clothing and footwear that are timeless and that transcend eras. Both fashion and furniture can be functional in their own way and enable better productivity and efficiency in a person's everyday life. Furniture continues to step into the world of fashion in different ways. The rack chair is a concept created by Dutch designer Tejo Remy, a chair made up of old clothing. This was designed for Droog, a luxury design company. So instead of them throwing away old clothing, they can be used to create a rack chair. The rack chair weighs about 55 pounds and is held together with metal straps. In a way, through the rack chair, furniture is being created as a solution to minimize waste in fashion by being able to reuse materials, and this promotes recycling. The Droog and Braindead rack chair collaboration is an example of this. The fashion industry has an ongoing issue with pollution and waste. Braindead is trying to fight this by being more efficient with leftover clothes, samples, and floral fabrics. Each piece contained over 50 pieces of Braindead t-shirts, shorts, sweatshirts, extending the life cycle of these pieces of clothing. The puffy aesthetic in general is about comfort, functionality, and protection. The puffy chair from Hem, designed by Faye Too Good, resembles a puffer jacket. I think transferring the aesthetic from a puffer jacket and integrating it into furniture form is innovative and flirts with the idea of sitting on fashion. So the bootlegs table by Pitter Patter are tables that use mannequin legs for the table legs and is a great way to display the lower section of an outfit in the process. Furniture designer Muddy Cap previewed a chair with spare jeans for people that love denim, a chair called Real to Sit with spare Kenzo clothing fabric, the Zhang chair, which is made up of spare jeans and shirts, as well as the Baram Giok version 2, which also has spare denim and shirt fabrics on it. This speaks to the people that want fashion pieces to be extended onto furniture. The use of furniture in fashion campaigns can be an effective platform to showcase fashion. The Crazy One Kobe debuted in 2000, and this was a more sophisticated shoe than the ones previously worn by Kobe. Designed by Eric Lund Nielsen in collaboration with Audi, and it was actually inspired by the Audi TT Roadster, and the name and branding made the shoe more personal to Kobe. This image from the Adidas campaign of Kobe sitting in a comfy looking laid-back chair using his laptop made you feel like you were entering Kobe's world off the court. And then you notice the Crazy One Kobe's that he's wearing, and then you appreciate that. Valentino Chapter 2, the Painters campaign, was a collaboration with international painters where they created their own piece of work centered around a Valentino accessory. As chairs are typically part of the creative process during painting sessions for painters, it made sense why there were chairs shown in some of the images of the studios. Painters may stand up when they're painting a piece of work, but there's also periods where there's a certain level of concentration and intimacy that's needed with the work being created, where sitting down in a chair can help with this. Heron Preston and Calvin Klein's collaboration was debuted in 2021, and it was all about celebrating the brand's archive pieces and most iconic pieces. Nas was seen sitting down on a chair, showcasing the collection, which is a great way to showcase fashion items. Uzi was seen standing on top of a sofa. There's been a growing trend of clothing with furniture pieces on it, such as the Cartel and Zara collection of t-shirts. In the fall of 2021, Cartel, an Italian brand that makes and sells plastic contemporary furniture, and you can see the model sitting on a chair whilst promoting the t-shirt. Wear Your Chair is a movement curated by Pink Essay, a furniture design community. The movement is all about the idea of wearing clothing with emergent or iconic furniture on it. It's a world where furniture inspires streetwear and vintage furniture merch meet, and is a mood board for the future of furniture on clothing. Doja Cat at the 2021 VMAs was wearing a chair hat, and this is probably an extreme example of this concept. But this does go back to the idea of furniture transcending comfort and functionality and becoming a symbol of creative expression and experiences.
A chair is still a chair, even when there's no one sits in bed.
This even includes mini furniture collectible toys that allow you to look at furniture pieces as iconic figures. The same way you would look at other types of figurine collectibles is how you would look at a mini furniture collectible toy. Furniture is being used more and more as a vehicle for experimentation and imagination. So fashion and furniture have similarities, they have differences. They both, from time to time, tap into each other's worlds, but ultimately showing that they can coexist, and they both encourage self-expression and human connection.